Good morning, vlog. It is Tuesday, April 2nd, and my confusions over my podcast issues continue as I go through the appeal process with Apple right now, because I did some investigating on the artwork, the album artwork this morning that apparently was not the right dimensions or whatever, that caused the Built-in Obsolescence podcast to be rejected through iTunes. And I checked my feed. The dimensions are right, or at least they should be right. The image is below the 3000 pixel by 3000 pixel maximum, and as I talked about last night in the closing of yesterday's vlog, maybe it was at the podcast episode level that I had the original artwork, which was way bigger than the maximum allotment on the metadata there. So I dug into that, and no, it was the exact same file. So I'm like, what the heck? So just to be safe, I then took the image and resized it to be 2000 by 2000 pixels, well below the maximum, like a nice little sweet spot in between the 1400 by 1400 pixel minimum and the 3000 by 3000 pixel maximum. And so I've submitted yet another appeal to Apple to see what the heck is going on, because I'm kind of at my wit's end. I'm like, you're telling me the episode or the podcast has invalid artwork when, by all indications that I see and that I've done, it's within your parameters. So what the hell's going on? What's wrong with your system, or what am I missing that is causing this to be rejected? So hopefully I get a message back today. Another frustration is that whenever I'm submitting the contact form for Apple on my computer, it just is stuck at the submission screen. Like, it's just a constant twirling of the icon, saying like, oh, we're working on submitting it, and there's never any confirmation until I get an email confirmation. So that is another point of frustration. I'm like, come on, Apple, get your crap together. What the hell? Seriously, you're like, you literally just had an event the other week on touting all these new services, online services, and how it's going to be a boon for content creators, when like this stuff happens for people that want to give content to your network. It's a little frustrating. So please hear my plea. So I did just get the confirmation email that they received my contact us form. So at least there's that. Now I'm going to keep an eye on whether I get a reply back today. Probably won't get one until maybe Wednesday or Thursday, probably. It's just a little frustrating right now, but I'm hoping things will work out soon. And on top of that, I'm really only a little over halfway done with editing the replacement episode for the Messiah Upper Room podcast, which I need to finish doing tonight after I get back from cantata rehearsal. So I'm feeling just a little spread thin tonight, but I'll get it done, and we'll have to just delay the podcast release tomorrow to not be in the morning but in the afternoon, unfortunately. I really like the idea of already having the podcast in the hole, ready to go, to be released at 6 o'clock in the morning every single Wednesday. But sometimes just things come up, and sometimes you have to push stuff back. Which does remind me that I need to cancel the automatic posting of the last episode right now, just so it doesn't get accidentally published tomorrow morning. All right, just a couple of clickety clicks on the mouse, and we've dodged that bullet, thankfully. And sometimes when you have to remember that you have stuff automated, and cancel it if need be. But yeah, I'll finish that up tonight. After, no matter what, I'm gonna be finishing it up tonight after rehearsal. We probably won't be done until like 9:30 or so, because it's going to be a full rehearsal. It's not going to be a full dress rehearsal where everybody's in costume and whatnot. I don't think that's until next week. But it will be a full rehearsal where we have our actors, where we have the choir, and we also have the orchestra all together. And yeah, that's going to be enjoyable, because that's when the real sound issues start to come out, because you introduce more bodies, more variables, more reflections, for opportunities for feedback. It'll be a fun time all around. But oh no, look at my wrist. It's time to go. I need to get to work. Hello vlog. A little bit of a time jump to after work, and I've already had some dinner. And now I am off to church for the rehearsal of our upcoming Easter cantata, Hakuna Cantata, as I like to say. But anyway, I might shoot some B-roll and whatnot. Oh, excuse me. Hello. Might shoot some B-roll while setting up for the orchestra and whatnot. But yeah, we'll just see what opportunities may arise. Right. And props to Toby for putting this entire thing up, this thing behind me. Look at this diorama. Some other members actually created this whole entire thing years and years ago. And Toby found it in storage and put it back together. He spent a lot of time just putting it all back together. So props to him for figuring that out. And I think this is going to be a really good cantata coming up. And now I'm going upstairs to go check in with Toby and make sure the soundboard is on and ready to go soonish. Getting my steps in right now. Alrighty, anyway. Alright, so I'm sitting here in the congregation. I thankfully have this wonderful iPad app that allows me to control the board up there from down here in the congregation. So we'll see how this goes. And so while we're waiting here, I'll show some of the stuff here. So you can hop between different sections of the board here. And let's see, these are the master channels up here in the upper right hand corner, so I can control the entire mix. And then here are different monitor mixes, if I remember correctly. And then here is the mix to control a bunch of different speaker networks on the board as well. So the 70-volt system that goes out to the narthex, and we have these subs, channel left, channel right. It controls like different speakers along the different sides of the sanctuary. Now, let's see, we're only really using 2 inputs here for the entire cantata, and so these 2 right here. So here we go. We're going to try this out. It is 9:15, just finished with cantata rehearsal, and it was an exercise. Been running up and down stairs the whole time, trying to figure out some sound issues. It's going to get really dark for a second there. And trying to figure out how I might be able to disconnect the speakers on the board, a certain set of speakers between columns inside the sanctuary, because they are right in front of the choir microphones that we're using for the cantata, and that can run into issues of feedback. So I know on one of the computers up there in the sound booth, we do have a wiring diagram of all the speakers inside the building. And so I was looking for it, and finally I found it. I'm like, oh, I need a copy of this, but I didn't want to log in using any of my accounts to transfer the files over that way onto this computer. So I was thinking, like, how would I do that? How can I securely transfer those files so I can see them on my iPad? And so basically what I was able to do was I was able to use a file sharing service from Firefox, of all things. They just actually released this a few weeks back, called like ShareSend. I think that's what the service is. I'll link to it down below. But you can send up to, I think it's like 2 gigabyte file sizes temporarily for free through this service, and securely. It encrypts it. You can password protect it and encrypt it that way, and send it to anyone that you need to have access to it. And it has built-in like destruction, so you can set it to be destroyed and deleted after one download, after X number of downloads, or after X number of days. But what I didn't account for was that it would generate a really long URL for me to download the file, and I wanted to download it onto my iPhone, but I couldn't like connect it to that computer in order to get the link or anything like that, and I didn't want to type in the really long link. So I went to a Bitly URL to the Bitly URL shortener in order to take that really long link and then shrink it down really small, so I could just type it in really quickly onto my iPhone and download the link and download the file that way. And then from there, I was able to put it onto my OneDrive that I use from Microsoft. And then I connected my iPad to my iPhone. I tethered it in order to download the PDF so I could use it on my iPad. And I love that technology allows a way for you to be able to transfer a file that way securely still, without needing to really log in to a service on that initial computing device in order to initiate that file transfer. And there's a little bit of a geeky tech solution for you today in case you ever run into a situation like that where you want to transfer a file but don't want to log in. Back at the apartment now, and you think like, oh man, I'm feeling pretty beat, tired from walking up and down the steps and all over the sanctuary. Maybe I should go to sleep, right?
No, you fool!
I still have to edit the podcast, finish editing that, and I'm about halfway done. And I got that by math and fractions, I got half more to go. All right, did most of the heavy lifting for the podcast. It's almost 11 o'clock at night, and I still need to do a little bit left in terms of mastering and uploading it and sending it off for approval. I'm going to finish that up bright and early in the morning because my voice is a little hoarse from having to yell and just be loud during rehearsal. So I'm going to let it heal, I guess, a little bit throughout the night and record the intro in the morning, and also investigate a few other things for the built-in obsolescence podcast that I have going on. I do have a little bit of an update, but I can provide that tomorrow. So I hope you have a good night, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Yep.